your money right now is at much more risk if it's not diversified and if it's part of the financial system, because during the next financial crisis, people are not going to be able to access all of their money. And the financial system right now is very dangerous. Paper money is very dangerous, and people need to realize that, and they need to do something about it.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Hey, Ken, welcome. Good to be back with you today.
Yeah, Dave, nice to be with you. I'm ready for another great show.
Ken, our topic today is financial security in an insecure world, program number 2. And today, more than ever, I think in my lifetime, and that includes several stock market crashes, as well as the dot-com bubble and the housing market bubble, even more than these, the issue of financial security really seems to be more in doubt. So let's take a look at the lay of the land right now. The Fed has been printing money at a record pace, and they've been doing so for the last couple of years. Now they're beginning to raise interest rates. And looking around, we see that certain countries are building up and hoarding supplies of gold, and also there are hedge fund managers and billionaire investors moving more and more of their financial assets into gold. What does all of this tell us?
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't want to see all their paper assets disappear or take, huge drawdowns of 80 or 90%, which could happen, believe it or not. But, believe it or not, Dave, gold is still a very small part of the financial system. I think less than 1% of all the financial assets, are in gold. Imagine that, only less than 1%.
Wow.
So if we get more demand from certain countries, and central banks are buying up a lot of gold and hoarding gold, like you said, and more demand from hedge fund managers, and big investors are buying a little bit more gold, even if they took their allocations up, just a couple of percent or 1%. I mean, you can't print gold out of thin air. There's only so much to go around. So if you have more demand and the supply is just kind of already at full capacity, there's not going to be enough to go around as this demand continues to increase. So, the price will have to go up dramatically for people to part with their gold, or people are going to have a hard time finding it, or probably both.
You said something that really captured my attention there for a moment, and that is this. With gold, you can't just print gold out of thin air. You can do that with fiat currency. And it seems like the more fiat currency you print, the more it devalues that currency, whereas gold, you can't do that to it, right?
Well, absolutely. And believe it or not, they printed 30% of the money supply in 2020. It was increased by 30% by just the stroke of a computer key.
Wow.
How insane is that? So how absurd is it to think that we can just print as much as we want and there's going to be no ramifications? How absurd is it to feel that we can just expand this debt by tens of trillions of dollars whenever we want, and there's not going to be any negative consequence, financially or economically? It's outrageous, but that's the world that we live in, and it's almost like a heroin addict. They're addicted to it now. Where at the beginning a little bit does the job. So I'm told. I don't know, but as you keep doing it, as your immune system grows to it, it takes more and more and more to just get a little bit of movement. So that's kind of where we're at now, and we're near the point of no return. We keep hearing words like one world order and one world system, one world currency. All I know is that whatever happens, it's not going to benefit you and I, Dave, or the people out there that are listening. It's not going to benefit the money that we've saved and that we've worked very hard for. It's going to be devalued, and devalued again until it's worth almost nothing. So while you can, do something about it. And you can take some of those dollars now while you can still get your hands on it, whether it's at a bank or at a brokerage firm or in a retirement account, and you can take it tax-free sideways, move it sideways into some physical gold and silver that you could hold, take delivery of. You can keep it safe wherever you want, and you can get to it the next time our financial system locks up. And I'll tell you, Dave, that time where we may not have access to our money, or the financial system is going through something horrible, is not that far away, and it could happen at any time.
A reminder here, you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and today our topic is financial security in an insecure world, program number 2. As you're talking, I have an image of gas prices that I'm seeing well over $6 and up to $7 a gallon, and what I'm thinking is that is a much higher percentage of a person's income. It cuts into that income at a much higher percentage today than gasoline prices ever did when you and I were growing up. And that's just one indication of how our paper money is losing its value, and we're having to use more and more of those dollar bills in our wallet just to go back and buy the same items.
Yeah, and what's crazy, Dave, is a lot of these CPI and inflation numbers that they come out with now, which are like 8, 9, 10%, whatever. They're probably like 20 or 25%, really. They don't even include food and energy. Now, are you mean to tell me that most of the people out there don't spend any money each week on food and energy? I mean, most of the money that we spent is on food and energy and rent. I mean, that's something else that people really haven't talked about too much, as a lot of the rents have skyrocketed over the last couple of years. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. They could only hide it for so long. Eventually, things are going to fall apart like a house of cards. We're not doomsdayers and conspiracy theorists, but I'll tell you that all of this debt one day, Dave, will matter, and all of this spending will matter, and all of this recklessness will matter. And the poor job that these politicians and these bankers have done for the last few decades will matter. It will all be exposed. But the problem is you don't want to go down with the ship when that happens. So you have to do something about it before that happens. That's why it's so important right now, Dave, that people try and protect and preserve and diversify what they can right now while they can still get to it.
Well, there's more to examine on this subject, getting into the nuts and bolts of how to buy gold, and we're going to do that later in our program. But first, in a moment, we're going to talk about our featured precious metal product of the week, and it's got quite a history. You're listening to The Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo.
I'm here with Midas Gold Group's senior trader and Marine Corps veteran, James Clark. James, why are people investing in gold and silver?
Well, Dr. Gorka, the Federal Reserve supplies money to pay for congressional spending. As Congress expands spending, the Fed has no choice but to keep printing money at an accelerated rate. This causes the dollar to fall and gold to increase.
So as the Fed and Congress devalue the dollar, what can people do?
As the nation's #1 veteran-owned precious metals dealer, we offer diversification strategies in the form of precious metals. As Congress looks to the Fed for more money, investors look to gold and silver to protect their nest egg.
And I recommend that you look to Midas Gold Group for all your precious metal needs. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. Well, by the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to come visit our local office and meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, you can call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. Now, it is time for one of my favorite portions of the program, and that's our featured precious metal product of the week. And today our featured precious metal product is the gold $20 Saint-Gaudens Double Eagle coin, 1907 to 1933. It is a tangible piece of American history. Ken, tell us about that.
Yeah, it really is, Dave. And while we're talking today, I mean, the stock markets are getting beaten up. I would urge people to be very careful with their present situation and start some plans to diversify, as this good market is not going to last forever. But the $20 Saint-Gaudens Double Eagle, Dave, is probably the most beautiful coin ever minted. President Theodore Roosevelt hired a sculptor, Augustus Saint-Gaudens, back in the 1906 period. And the goal at that time was to change the outdated Liberty look, which was used since 1838 with a new, updated, highly detailed design. And what evolved from that were very unique works of art, and they call it the $20 Saint-Gaudens. The front is just beautiful. It's a mainstay. They're known as Saint-Gaudens $20 gold coins, $20 coins, and that comes from the person who designed the coin, Augustus Saint-Gaudens.
The features here, they are really meticulous, aren't they?
It's a gorgeous coin, Dave. I mean, it comes in different qualities. I've never seen a Saint-Gaudens that I don't like, even the ones that are extremely beat up. You know, the front features Miss Liberty holding a torch, lighting the way to freedom as dawn rises over the Capitol, and the reverse is just a great, majestic flying eagle. It's a very unique design with the $20 denomination and "In God We Trust" on the back of the coin. These are not medallions or reproductions. These are genuine coins that were once U.S. legal tender. And once again, like I said, they were minted from 1907 to 1933. These were the 1 ounce gold coins, and they contained 0.9675 ounces, troy ounces of pure gold. They're a little browner, Dave, than a 24 karat gold coin because they did contain some copper, because it was real money at that time.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to look at it. I've got one, and to look at it and realize that when this first came out, this was the real money that was in a man's pocket or in a woman's pocketbook, and this is what they would use to buy things. It's got, I think, a very noticeable amount of weight when you hold it in your hand.
Yeah, it does. And I forgot you had a real nice one. You got a real nice minted one too, Dave. It's a high quality coin. And you know the old story, back in 1933, there was two forms of money, a $20 gold bill and a $20 gold Saint-Gaudens, and both of them at that time were worth $20. And both the gold coin and the $20 bill bought a man a nice suit. If you fast forward that to today, the $20 Saint-Gaudens is over a $2,000 coin, which still buys a man a nice suit. So one product holds its value and its purchasing power, but the $20 bill, which bought a nice suit back in the 30s, probably couldn't buy a man a pair of socks today. So one product holds its value, and one product, like the dollar, loses its value. And we would urge people, David, instead of holding all of their money in paper, consider the $20 Saint-Gaudens as a way to have wealth preservation and diversification through precious metals. It's a historical coin from the U.S. Mint. It commemorates rich American history. It's a foundational, one of the most popular gold products that's on the market. You will not regret owning, for your nest egg and your kids and yourself, some $20 Saint-Gaudens.
Coming up in just a moment, we're going to continue looking at the threat to your financial well-being. This is the Gold Standard, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka here. Part of the so-called Great Reset from the multinational elite is to enact a digital wallet currency. Think of the implications. Time to create your own gold standard with a call to the dealer I do business with, veteran-owned Midas Gold Group, the America First precious metals experts who can help you with IRAs and more. Get your portfolio reset with gold and silver. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
We continue now with the Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. And if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to come and visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. If you want to write that down by the numbers, it's 855-322-4653. We're talking with Ken Russo, Senior Vice President at Midas Gold Group, and our subject today is financial security in an insecure world. Program number 2. Ken, gold has remained a constant source of wealth protection for over 5,000 years, but in the past, it has been almost exclusively the possession of royalty and the ultra-wealthy. However, the great news is that gold is affordable for the average person. A guy like me can actually own gold and have its security for my finances. You have a lot of people like me as customers, don't you, Ken? I mean, average, everyday, working people.
Yeah, and the old saying, kings own gold and slaves own debt. But everybody can own gold. You can buy a gram or own a gram for, around $80.
Wow.
We have silver, which is very affordable for most investors. But the issue is, Dave, is that bankers and advisors and financial planners have done a wonderful job, and mutual fund companies just convincing people and training investors that you could stay the course and stay invested, and we can trade you around. And they've come up with all these paper products that will literally tell you, well, you could just own paper gold. It's just as good as paper gold. Well, no, it's not. So the point is that you could learn on your own. Like I said, gold is still a very small part of the financial system. It's not as talked about at all as these other products are endorsed, talked about, and promoted regularly. Why would you put hundreds of thousands of dollars into a money market or a CD and you get no return barely, and your money's not even safe at the bank if we get another banking crisis? Why would someone want to do that? Well, because they're convinced that it's a good thing to do. Well, I'm telling you, it's not. And the financial system right now is very dangerous. Paper money is very dangerous. And people need to realize that, and they need to do something about it. Our phones should be ringing off the hook Monday through Friday from 8 to 4 p.m. Pacific time. Every single American out there needs defense, and they can be diversified in a little bit of gold and a little bit of silver.
In a moment, I'm going to ask you my last question for the day, but you really are intriguing me as you talk about how gold protects our wealth. And one of the aspects we have not talked about, and I don't think we've talked about enough, because I have gold, and the question for a person might be, okay, gold you own, gold you can hold. How do they keep that gold secure? How do they keep it protected so somebody can't steal it from them?
Well, it's a private asset, so you should keep things private, and just tell people that are close to you that you even own it. It's nobody else's business. But some people keep it at home in a safe, that's bolted down, a fire-resistant, high security safe. It's if you have that much money to protect or something of value to protect, you got to invest a little bit into it to keep it safe. Other clients maybe at a private depository. Other clients just keep it in places where they know that it's not going to be, looked at or it's not under threat. So it's a little bit different for everyone. But the point is I asked the client the other day, Dave, I said, do you feel safe with all of your money at the bank? And he said, no. And I said, well, that's understandable. Neither do I. So you can't leave, all of your assets in one place or in one market or in one financial system or in one financial instrument. So I think the least of our clients' problems is finding a place where they could hold their gold safely. Maybe they have important documents. Maybe they have jewelry. I mean, we're not going to announce this to the world. We're not going to tell people what we have. I mean, we should have financial privacy, Dave. We should have financial freedom. We should be able to do that. So if you're in a fortunate enough position to have a nice stash of gold or a nice stash of silver, you may have to invest in a little something to keep it safe, or maybe a private depository, and we could help with that. But the bottom line is that your money right now, Dave, is at much more risk if it's not diversified and if it's part of the financial system, because during the next financial crisis, people are not going to be able to access all of their money. And in my opinion, that's a much bigger issue than figuring out where we could store privately a little bit of our gold.
You raise the issue of privacy, and I know that right now, a portion of my income can be reported to the government. They can know, number one, they can know how much I make from my job. But even when I go to the bank, if I deposit $10,000 or more, the bank has to notify the government that I have deposited that amount. And there are now some bills that have been put forward by Congress to bring that down as low as $600. Anyone who deposits $600 or more, that is reported to the government. That, to me, is a huge intrusion of privacy.
Well, yeah, Dave. I mean, our financial freedom is basically gone, and our financial privacy is gone, and it will eventually, our money go digital, which we talked about last week, and that's because that's ultimate control, ultimate control of what we spend, where we spend it, how we spend it, and to keep a track on everything. So now you have a chance to do something about it before that happens, because that's where we're headed. So I don't know what other way to put it or how to put it, Dave, but we're in very scary financial risky times. It makes absolutely zero sense to keep all of your money in paper and in dollars and in the financial banking system. And you have a chance. For how long it's going to last, I don't know. But our audience has a chance to do something about it and diversify some of those paper assets into something that has stood the test of time. Physical gold. The alarms are sounding. The writing is on the wall. I mean, if people can't see that, I don't know what I can do for them, but I would make that call today and start diversifying or add to your already existing gold. So think about taking those paper assets, diversify. Midas Gold Group could help you. Gold has been around for 5,000 years as money. Money should be strong. People should be diversifying today, Dave, as things are more dangerous financially and more overvalued as ever. And let me make this point. There's a pretty good chance that oil could go to $200 a barrel over the next couple of years.
Wow.
Where's that going to put gas? Over $10. So this is not going away. People need to understand that. And this could be one of your last chances to own gold while it's still at a reasonable price.
And that is why I own gold from Midas Gold Group. Ken, thank you so much. That is going to bring us to the end of our time together here on the Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. And a reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. The Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served in the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD. One more time, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, as always, I'm grateful that we get to spend some time together.
Yes, nice to talk to you today, Dave, as always.
I'm Dave Dino, and I hope you'll come and join us again next week at this same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.